Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to wrap up today with a special selection, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is I need to check out. Today's comes out as from Nick, A.C.T, The End. I don't know if I'm supposed to pronounce that as ACT or A.C.T. I'm going to go with ACT just to keep things brief. Let's dive into this track though off of the Circus Pandemonium album. Very sharp and abrupt staccato notes, keeping this very strict. Interesting shift.
Completely ruined his work.
That's a catchy little lick there. Very theatric. I could easily see this in a rock opera. The big vocal harmonies. Yeah, there's that staccato. Very sharp shifts between these sections. Lots of vocal variety that all have similar timbres. I wonder if there's only one vocalist here. Because we have mixed chest and head, we have chest, we have falsetto, we have a lower grit, like a raspy lower sounds. Constant rising. Ooh, nice little violin line there. Very interesting accent pattern. Oh, is that a tempo and meter change simultaneously? Oh, and okay. Lots of removed beats in order to create interesting section there. I'll catch up to the removed beats in the analysis. Oh, I thought that new drum pattern was going to introduce the next section, but
He cries like a madman, he smells like a field gun, touches a good dog to finish a bad show. He tears
No,
down the walls,
just
smashes parts to pieces.
what in the world?
That's how the chaos increases. Everyone runs, didn't know it was not his show. He tears on the walls, smashes parts to pieces. Job is running, that's how the chaos increases. Show us your own.
Somewhere between Genesis, Queen, and Dream Theater, this certainly feels like Circus Pandemonium. There are quite a few allusions towards circusy style music. We do have that piano line with the audience kind of giggling, creates this light idea of a being an act in front of an audience. And the pandemonium comes in with just how wildly eclectic the larger palette of sounds is here. We have some rock opera style ideas where it is rock instrumentation, but the composition is generally simple in order to create a lot of room for the vocal parts. And there are sections where there are 5 and 6 vocal layers. It's catchy in a way while still being a bit of that more palatable style of rock that typically gets used in rock opera. But then we also have sections that are very theatrical, being larger than life, focusing on exaggerated forms of emotion with belted vocals to go along with them. And then we have the Dream Theater-esque mid-sections, which we just kind of go through a bunch of weird time signatures and gritty guitar riffs and just back-to-back random ideas. And those ideas are all rather distinct themselves, dancing between the realms of rock and metal, sometimes being more metrically based, sometimes being more melodically based, all of them having their own harmonic palette, changing up what types of chords and what kind of chord progressions they're using. It is wildly fresh every 30 seconds or so. In a lot of ways, it reminds me of, and I appreciate this for, a lot of the same things that I appreciated in Kojum Dip's album that we checked out last weekend, I think it was, which, you know, you never really knew what was around the corner of any song. 30 seconds from now, we could be doing something incredibly different from what we're doing right now, and this song captures that same kind of energy. I can get behind the absurdity of it, the musical absurdity. It's fun. There's a novelty to this that I'm not going to say that I hate, but it is novel at the end of the day. And particularly even that shift at the end of the bridge, random silence, and then back to what I assume is going to be the chorus when we return back to that sound from 4 minutes earlier, as if to say, well, just disregard everything we listened to and let's get back to it. And that was just such a ridiculous way to bring all of this stream of consciousness writing into some sort of cycle, to bring it back to a familiar moment and finish the song up. I'm not thinking this is going to be a song I'm going to personally return to, but I did have fun with it. But I don't particularly think I enjoyed too much of my time with it because it is a series of isolated ideas. The song never really wants to connect anything at all. There are callbacks, sure, but it's a one-to-one callback. It's simply, well, we did this earlier, let's just do it again. Just so that it doesn't feel as disconnected as it is. Even when we look at The verse or the chorus, I'm really not sure how to designate this song since it primarily feels linear to me. But even when the vocals were in, we were constantly fluctuating between two extremes, almost as if the song were on a pendulum. We would have this light, effortless one instrument with a little bit of notes and then the vocals above it, and then it would swing to the other side and we would have this bombast, large instruments, big sounds, belting of the vocals, massive vocal stacks, and then we'd have that for 2 bars and it'd swing back. Oh, we need to be quiet again. 2 bars of this and it swings back to the bombast. Even within a section, the song can't focus on anything. It has to constantly work in these extremes, and not only gets elevated and escalated as we get further into the track, we get out of this verse chorus idea because we do have a repeating of ideas for the first 2 minutes or so, and we enter into the bridge and it's just 30-second idea, 30-second idea, 10-second idea, 15-second idea, 30-second idea, and it's just rapid fire, brand new things constantly, no tie over, no foreshadowing, no callbacks, no variations on ideas. Everything is fresh and new every couple of seconds. I don't know, man. I guess it follows with the circus idea though. Maybe. A circus is designed to have a bunch of acts that are vaguely familiar. They have, general gymnastics or acrobatic routines. Sometimes there'll be animal routines, but usually that is once again showing off acrobatics, jumping through hoops and balancing on ball. I don't know. I've only ever seen circuses in pop culture. I've never been to one. So I don't know if these things actually happen in circus. It's a weird thing to admit. I've never been to a circus. But anyways, based on, how circuses are displayed in television shows and stuff, it's all spectacle. Immediate spectacle. You get your dopamine from the event. You're like, oh, dude, that was pretty cool. That gets shuttled off for the next thing. While this is going on, the trapeze artists are setting up so that when this animal's done doing their tricks, we can look up at the trapeze artists and they're doing their stuff up there. And it's just this rapid fire, new going on. And I guess the song does capture that really well, but well, I guess there is no but after that. It does it very well. And honestly, like I mentioned, I enjoyed the novelty of that in this track. That feeling of anticipation, what's going to happen next? Not necessarily where are they taking this, but what will replace it? What is the next thing I will see and how will it surprise me? From that angle, this is phenomenally done. There's also a lot of chops on display here instrumentally, some sick guitar riffs, some really nice drum patterns, the bass gets some time to shine, the vocals. I mentioned there's just a ton of wild vocal work in here. There's like 4 or 5 distinct vocal sounds, but they all have similar timbre. So I think it's just one dude who's just got a massive range. Fantastic stuff. Everybody's top of their game. The keyboardist does fantastic job. There's all sorts of cool flourishes and stuff in this track. But what really stands out to me is the constant and consistent temporal adjustments. I am not entirely sure what this song is doing with time signature. We started off in 4/4, pretty straightforward. I think that was the last time signature I got a real strong grasp on. Because the thing is that a majority of the time, I will find a time signature and then find that it doesn't work 100% of the time. I feel a groove. Oh, we're in like a 3 feel. Maybe we're in 3/4, maybe we're in 6/8. Let me figure this out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. What happened? We had an accent on 2. Well, was that just a rogue accent, just something to kind of spice things up? Or is that actually our 1 here? And I gotta listen to it again. No, dude, that's a 1. So we had 3 for a while, and then we didn't. And this is what I was talking about earlier when I got abruptly cut off by something wild that grabbed my attention in the music, is that the time signature is usually some sort of alternated time signature. Either we will have 3 bars of one and then a bar that is less than what we were doing, or we will alternate between a longer bar and a shorter bar, such as we were working at one time with 8 and then 7. And then we'd go back to the 8 and 7. So there's always this feeling of you get the groove and then it's introduced cut off. A part of it is removed to make it feel like you lurch into the next idea quickly or unexpectedly. And I think this lines up with the general movement of the track too. You can never really know where the song is going. Each individual section of the track is wildly different from what precedes it and what will come after it. The music, rhythmically, is the same way. Eventually, you'll get a feel for the rhythmic elements, but trying to figure it out in real time as the song is going on, while also trying to get a vibe for everything else that's happening, it's almost impossible to be able to anticipate every rhythmic shift that's going on in here. And you have to remember that these time signature changes, you not only have the time signature change per section, this one might be in 6/8, this one might be in 4/4, this one might be in 5, but then you also have to account that somewhere in here, you're going to be losing some beats in a bar. What's the pattern of that? How many beats are going to be lost? Is that going to change? Are we going to remove 1 beat the first time through, but 2 beats the second time through this section? There's just a lot of variation in the metric side of things. And it kept me on my feet just as much as the structure did, just as much as the sonic changes did. I feel like all of it works together in order to ensure that the song is never doing the same thing for more than 5 seconds, which matches that dopamine kick that I was talking about earlier with watching a circus, a hypothetical circus based off of pop culture renditions of just new things coming out all the time. Never letting your attention wane at all. And the music does a phenomenal job of that, even on the metric level. What I find really impressive, though, is the performative side of this. It's not hard to sit down and just say, okay, this section's going to be in 6, but every 4 bars we're going to remove a beat. This section's going to be in 7, but every 2 bars we're going to remove 3 beats. This isn't hard to do. You just make this up. Then you write your music. Again, not as hard as the final part, though, which is performing it, remembering all of these choices you made, remembering the riffs, remembering the variations on the riff, because if you're going to remove 2 beats, you got to remember not to play those 2 beats. And so you basically have 2 exits to your riff, the extended exit and then the shortened one, where instead of playing the final couple of beats, you're going to have to start your riff over. So you've got to remember all of this for every section across the entire song, which has several sections to it. There is a lot of metric memorization going on here and perfect performance. Now, studio version, you get multiple takes, sure, but I'm sure they can do this live as well. And I think that all of this really ties together as to be the most impressive part of the performance for me. And that's on top of the fact that all of these people are masters at their instruments. As I mentioned earlier, guitar shred, walking bass lines, melodic drum work, fancy piano flourishes, all the vocal stuff going on. So this is incredibly impressive from a sheer concept of musical density. How much information is packed into this 6-minute song and how much of it is variable or different from what precedes it. And I'm going to assume the rest of the album is like this. That's a lot of music to memorize. And it's really impressive from that perspective. On top of the fact that they're playing multiple styles of music in here too. Different kinds of rock. There's progressive metal in here. All of it's progressive to begin with. And they're nailing all of it. The metal sections sound metally. The rock sections sound rock. The musical sections sound musical. So this is a rather impressive track. And I think that's about all I have to mention about it. Just a little one-off. The production on this is fantastic. Strong amount of clarity throughout this song. Everything's balanced. No instrument overcomes another. Just very well done. Yeah, and it captures this circus vibe. I'm kind of curious about the end as a title. We'll hit that hopefully when I read the lyrics. I hope they'll explain what that's supposed to mean. Um, but I think especially when you include those interludes of the audience laughing alongside a very light accompanying piano, it certainly sets the mood of a circus. And I think at those moments, it kind of sets a humiliation element too. The laughter seems to be directed at the act in those moments. But now I'm getting into more thematic and narrative elements, and the lyrics are going to help with that. So let's dive in. Interestingly, the lyrics are about the destruction of a circus. The pandemonium comes from literal chaos of unprecedented actions during a circus act. It talks about a clown named Verdell leaning against a tree. It says he'd been thinking and drinking, which was his favorite thing to do. He heard the muffled applause from the tent behind him, but he had to end the misery. He said he had enough. So the tent went quiet, and he knew that meant Lewis was up. Then he hears a snare drum begin to patter in the air. He stood up, screamed idiots, and ran towards the tent. The manager saw him, but didn't have a chance to react. This was the day the manager witnessed how one of his own completely ruined his work. The chorus kicks in. He smells like a madman. No, sorry, cries like a madman and smells like a beer can. Intentions are good, though. Tears down a wall, smashes props to pieces. Everyone runs as the chaos increases. The manager went crazy. Lewis released all the animals. And the manager cries here, watching his dream disappear. The final stanza says, "Noble indeed, yes, but they must be brainless. The band they're staying, act keeps on playing. The show must go on, let's do a middle section." That's what this song's about. A clown who's tired of this circus for whatever reason. It could be being mistreated by the manager. It could just be tired of this entire life. It could just be being drunk, making rash decisions. Regardless, as the clown of the circus, he crashes it, breaks things apart, tears things apart, and the animal handler releases all the animals. That's what this song is about. Yeah, I think the chaos of this track matches that really well. There's always something else happening. Always some other distraction. Some sort of event to call your attention to. And I'm sure having the animals released probably isn't great for the audience. That's probably quite terrifying, and it does say that everybody runs. So, yeah, I could see this being chaos, pandemonium in the tent. Interesting track. Also, it mentions that the band, they stay. A.C.T keeps on playing. This band is called A.C.T. Are they self-inserted into this story? Is this a story about the band, a fictional story about the real band? I think that's interesting too. Makes me wonder if this whole thing is a concept album. These are my thoughts, though, on A.C.T's The End. What did you think of this track? Did anything stand out to you? Is there anything you would like to add on to what I said or correct me on? Maybe you have your own interpretation or opinion on this track. Please put all of that and anything else that you would like to add into the comment section below. Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. Takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. All right, that wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.